So welcome to Whole Latte Love. I'm Mark,
I'm Nick.
and we somehow ended up wearing matching shirts
Yeah,
today.
we're starting our new band. It's called Maroon 2.
Maroon 2, I like
That's right.
that.
So.
Okay. We're going to take a look at a variety of machines today, whether you're looking for convenience or to go to more of a hobby level at home.
That's right, yeah. Convenience all the way up to brewing some of the best specialty coffees at home, right?
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, we've got, we're live streaming. We got more coming up at 1 and 2 today.
That's
we're going
right.
to do
and again on Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
And Cyber Monday. We've got a lot of special stuff going on right now. Let's talk a little bit about that before we get into the different machines.
We do, yes. So we've got a lot of really great deals going on right now. Some best, I would say, value sales on certain products, as well as some gift with purchase across a wide range of items on our website. If you are watching now during this stream, and obviously throughout the Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, you can take advantage of these deals. Take a look at our sales page on wholelattelove.com, and you can go into the specifics because some of the deals are even changing while supplies last. So it's something where you really want to keep up with it to make sure you're getting exactly what you think. So, and I see we've already got some comments in the chat. So yes, happy Thanksgiving to you too, Michael Nelson. So we are taking chats down there. So if you see us looking, we're looking to see
down.
what you have to say.
Yep.
But yeah, so boiler types, right?
Boiler types. Well, I mean, we got basic machine types, because we have what we call a super automatic espresso machine over here.
Yes.
That's the one, and coming up where you just push a button, get a cappuccino.
Push a button, sometimes called bean to cup, or in some cases one touch, depending on the model, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, Jordan, if you want to bring us over there. Maybe we have Andrew behind the camera today. Yeah, Andrew, go ahead and just show everybody kind of what we're talking about here. So this is our super automatic, the Gaja Magenta Prestige. Just appeared actually in your video for Best of Super Automatics. Incredible value, and I think you teased too, some over ice functionality coming soon.
Yes.
And then, of course, everyone knows our single boiler today. This is the Profitec Go, PID'd, essentially ECM Casa 5 with a little bit of a playful rebrand as it was reborn as a Profitec machine. And then, Mark, what do we got on the other side here?
So we're going to go. So this single boiler is the Go. Now, these are machines, if you're very, very new, these are machines after the super automatic bean to cup. These you're going to grind yourself.
Of course, yeah. So these are what we would call semi-automatic espresso machines, meaning that our grinder will be separate in most cases, although there are a few that you actually have a built-in grinder. And then kind of the single boiler here, a
heat exchange machine. So on the single boiler, you can brew and steam, not at the same time.
You can brew and steam, but you can't do both at the same time. You have one boiler filled with water, and then you basically, on the Go here, you actually have two temperatures that you can set in the PID. Some machines, like the Gaja Classic E24, for example, use a thermostat, and so basically you've got a switch that lets you toggle between those two temperatures.
So on the heat exchanger, we can brew and steam milk at the same time. So you can be brewing your shot of espresso out and steaming your milk at the same time.
That's right.
No worries. And then we're going to go to the Gaja Classic GT, which is a dual boiler machine. So same idea, but the temperature control is a little tighter on a dual boiler than on a lot of heat exchangers.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll get into kind of who each of these machines is for and maybe talk even in more depth about how the boilers work. So let's just start with our Magenta here, and you gave me some really nice props to play with. I love these. The Magenta uses what's referred to as a thermoblock boiler, or just in some cases they just refer to it strictly as a thermoblock. So this is a block of aluminum, and essentially on the inside of it we have multiple passages, and water flows through those and it's heated on demand. And so basically this is not going to
It's a stainless steel tube in there, right?
Yeah, stainless steel tube that runs through. You can see those passages along on the sides here. Water is pumped directly from the reservoir through these, and so especially too, let's say if you're steaming as well, it's going to run the pump and push that water through. And the benefit of this design is you can heat water very, very quickly, but you don't have a kind of just supply of water sitting in there like you would with a traditional boiler.
Right. So and just real quick, we'll show you. So this is the boiler, the brew boiler. There's two boilers in the GT, but this is the actual brass brew boiler from the Gaja Classic GT. We'll talk more about it, but it has a PID temperature sensor instead of a thermostat, very accurate. And just so let's talk. So let's get into this machine.
Sure.
We'll talk more about
Of
the
course.
boilers later. So
Yeah.
the super automatic bean to cups. So you load these with water. You load them with beans.
So
if
in
we-
the top,
Yeah.
water on one side, beans on the other.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, of course, we have a grinder that's built in here too.
Also
And-
up top, we have, if you wanted to do the decafs, there's a bypass doser. A lot of people will put pre-ground decaf. Any pre-ground
That's right.
coffee can go in
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, pre-ground for espresso.
Yes.
Just it does have to be ground fine. So if you're going to pick some up, make sure it says that it's fine for espresso. So on a bean to cup machine like this one, essentially you still have some control over how you want to extract. Now let's go into, I know you were working on your cappuccino here. We'll
Yeah.
show off what this machine can do. Basically, we're going into our menu here, and you'll notice we have across the top the volume of coffee, so that's going to be the amount of liquid espresso that we're getting out, as well as our volume of milk, so that's going to be for our foam, the drink temperature, and then of course the drink strength. Now, I could just go ahead and brew simply by pressing that start-stop button, but I'm going to actually make a few changes. So on this machine in particular, the Gaja Magenta, anytime that you change these settings, it will save them for you. So if we can, let's see if we can get just maybe a little tighter on the screen if that's possible. But I'm going to go up to 1.5 ounces for my coffee. And I'm going to max out the milk because I don't know exactly how much liquid I'm going to need based on how foamy it gets. So I can interrupt in the middle of my cycle and just have it saved based on how much I dispensed.
And I want mine hot.
I, of course,
And
also
strong.
want mine very hot and very strong. By the way, if you go all the way through the strength selector there, you'll see that you can get to that little scoop icon, which tells the machine that you want to use the pre-ground scoop. So we'll press start.
Oh,
And we're going to hear our grinder. Hold on. It's going to prompt me.
okay.
Do a little guided tour
Okay,
here.
okay.
A little guided tour, I know. So what Mark's saying, though, is we do need to actually position the arm for our frothing. So I'll go ahead and just move that anyway. But we've got our beautiful Varia sip cups as well. And yeah, the machine's just heating up. We hear the pump kick on, and that's going to run water to create steam.
Through
creates
that boiler that
suction.
we saw.
Exactly. So there's our foam for our cappuccino.
And we are using a detachable milk carafe here.
That's
so
right.
we have an attached machine, but once we're done, you can have it do a little clean and pop it right back in the fridge.
So let's say I think this looks about good right here. So now we're moving on.
So you didn't end up having, you didn't stop the milk, right? You
I
let
did
it-
stop
Oh,
the
you
milk.
did stop
yeah,
the milk.
I
Okay.
stopped it.
Okay. But you don't have to do that once you're programmed in.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But now we're going to get my espresso.
So it's going to heat up. It already ground the coffee, right?
It did.
Before it did the milk.
And we're just about to get that coffee. And there we go. There's the pump because the brew group is already full. There was that pre-infusion that goes on. And so the reason I did this was, again, if you don't know exactly how much milk you want, you can obviously interrupt that brew cycle. And you know, I may have gone a little higher, but at that point we'd be getting kind of dangerous.
But it always looks great right when it's up to the top.
And I'll bring this up to the front so we can see it. And it's going to ask me, do you want to do a quick milk clean? I'm going to say yes. And then place a container under the spout. I'll just use a cup here. And basically, once this is done, we can actually remove the carafe and put it right back in the refrigerator.
Oh, that always,
And it's just heating up again, just to get a little bit of water through there. And then we'll be good to go. And then, Mark, do you want to grab that and just put that right up next to our thermo block there? So it runs just a little bit of water for a quick rinse. And then we can close this, successfully cleaned. And basically, too, on a carafe like this one, so I've got that near our cappuccino here, there's a little lid so you can fill right from the top. And then obviously the entire carafe can also be taken apart like this. But the point is, you actually don't need to separate these components. You can just take the lid off and
Pour
then
the
pop
milk in.
this right in the refrigerator. These machines with the carafes from Gaja come with a water spout, so you basically can put that right in the socket. So I am going to give this a sip. We're going to be streaming for a little bit today,
Yeah.
so I just want to get a little caffeine there.
But now on this machine, so that was a cappuccino.
Yes.
We have other drink options on there, right?
We do, yes. And so that's sort of the beauty of a super automatic espresso machine is you kind of bring the cafe home to the counter, and you don't really need to become the barista. The machine's going to do that for you. So
If we get up close up top here on the screen here, maybe we can.
we've got 4 menus of
those.
drinks, right? So they keep kind of the most popular options on the first screen. So we have espresso, coffee, cappuccino, latte macchiato, Americano, your and my favorite, I would say.
Yes.
Hot water, of course, espresso lungo, cafe au lait, flat white, and then we've got things like a ristretto, cafe cortado, and frothed milk. So
And Bob through those just one more time because
Yeah.
we didn't quite see those. And I just want to make a couple comments here. So the latte macchiato, that's going to do the milk first, right?
it does the milk first, like it did with the cappuccino, longer volume, because
Yeah.
what's happening is it's giving that more time or more space basically between the hot milk foam and the hot milk. So when the espresso brews in, it creates a beautiful layer there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to put that, so kind of like our cappuccino, that
Yeah,
did the milk
exactly.
first,
It
so
did the
there's
milk
kind
first,
of
so
our
you've
layer.
got a nice layer. Something like the Americano is really interesting because you actually can program in the amount of bypass water that you want to do. So it's going to brew your shot and then add water to it, which is really nice.
And like you mentioned, that's like what I drink all the time, and so that's like espresso just with hot water added. If you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a purer flavor for me. It
Yes.
better represents the flavor in the bean, especially when you get into some higher end coffees.
Then you got drinks like the flat white, where you kind of flip the script and get a more coffee-forward beverage instead. And really, my advice would be for all of these, if you want to come back to us, Andrew, to experiment with the drinks on the machine and see which ones you like, because you may not know exactly what you want to change about a drink necessarily. So I would try the different ones that are in there first, and then from there start to refine based on your tastes. But Gaja, especially like with the Academia, have a lot of really delicious drink options right out of the gate that you can try. And then you can obviously play with them too.
And then a little difference there, like I keep on talking about. Well, the milk came first in the cappuccino. If you go to a flat white, it's going to be the espresso first.
That's right. It's going to be espresso first, and that flat white is going to have a little bit less foam too.
Yeah, so
right?
it's going to be more of a mix.
Exactly.
Of it, so
Exactly.
more like
versus
a-
the layer where you've got more
Yeah.
of that distinct separation.
So let's talk a little just bit more about this machine because they're typically going to have a place. We saw kind of up top where you put your beans and your
Yep.
water in. Also up top, we talked about that bypass toaster for using the pre-ground coffee. Again, if you're
Exactly.
going to use
So that's going to go right in there.
if you're going to use the pre-ground coffee, it needs to be ground espresso fine. So don't go buy drip coffee and pour it in
Yes.
that kind of grind. Then it also these machines are going to have a place to store the used coffee.
Yep. So
And we've got a couple other little features here.
just
we
a
should
couple
talk about.
features, yeah, really nice. Just a metal tray that just lifts right out of the drip tray here. So you can use this to reduce the distance between your spouts so that you get less splashing. And then, yes, Mark, to your point, all of your so there's no plastic pods or anything like
Right.
that. It's just coffee grounds, right? And that's what's really nice about these Super Autos. Press these 2 tabs here. You can take out the entire drip tray, so it goes the full depth of the machine. It's just going to catch any water from the inside as well. And you have a nice little contour in the back for pouring. And then all of your spent pucks are right here in what's called the dreg drawer. And when you're all done, you just toss those out, give this a quick rinse, put it back in the machine.
And then I don't know if we want to take a quick look from that side angle, maybe just inside where where our brew group is. We're going to
Sure.
slide that out just a little bit. So this is, I always call these the little mini barista inside the machine.
Yep, so this is the brew group or brew unit, and essentially you have a lot of similar design elements on this as you do on a kind of group head, right? So maybe we can
Yeah.
show in just a minute with our group head that we have there, but let me just see about if I can move our mechanism here. But basically the way that this works is coffee falls into the top here. You'll see there's a red silicone gasket seal right here. And basically the way that this works is the group moves the entire assembly into position and then slides it up. And that seal is just like your group gasket inside your espresso machine. And then there's, of course, a shower screen that water flows through, and then that passes through into the spouts, and that's how you brew your coffee. You'll notice it's actually right near our grinder assembly, and then the bypass chute drops coffee directly into our brewing unit. So the brewing unit is obviously waterproof. You can take it out every week and give it a quick rinse, and then maybe every 500 shots you'll just run a cleaning tablet, which is very much like back flushing, and then you can re-lubricate the group so that you have the mechanisms sliding more easily.
Yeah, so it does all the work for you as opposed to the next set of machines we're going to do.
Exactly, and there are dedicated cleaning cycles for exactly that, cleaning the brew group, doing a descale cycle, and then also doing a deep clean of the milk carafe. So we showed you a rinse, but you can also use a product like Ernex Rinza, make a cleaning solution, and then just really get everything cleaned out between, let's say you've used it multiple times, you just did a Thanksgiving perhaps, right? And so you want to give it a deep clean, so that's how you do that.
So all about convenience here on the super automatic machines. I do like the magenta. We'll just wrap up on that by saying, number one, it's a really great value in the carafe-based one-touch milk drink machines where you just turn it on in the morning and like within a minute or two, you can have a cappuccino, a cafe au lait, your flat white, or a regular cup of coffee, which I would make as an Americano.
Yes, and one thing I will say, because I sold a magenta to a friend of my dad's, ultimately what he really wanted was, there is another version of the magenta, and there are several Gaggia machines just like this that have a true commercial steam wand so that you can actually texture the milk using a pitcher, and he just really enjoyed the texture and being able to foam. So, Gaggia, I think, is one of the few companies that still includes commercial style steam wands on their super automatics, because you can really get the best texture that way. So, for those of you who don't want to give up being a barista entirely, there are some options for you too.
So you get your espresso auto, but just hit a button and froth your milk manually right to a latte art quality.
That's right,
if you want to go there. All right. Anything else we should talk about on the magenta here?
I would just say, it's an incredible value. Like I said, there's a
Made in Italy.
Made in Italy. All Gaggia super automatic machines, all Gaggia espresso machines that we carry at Whole Latte Love in general, made in Italy, of course. The magenta, really, really great value option. There will be very soon magentas that can do over ice, in addition to the Moonlight one, which of course already does it. So if you're looking to get those iced beverages, they're going to be here sooner than you think. So just really good value overall.
Okay.
So maybe we take a look now at the Profitect Go.
Yeah. So the Go. Now we're up to the portafilter type machine they called a semi-automatic machine, where we're going to grind our own coffee for this one and go to another level. Now this uses something called a PID, right, to control the temperature. So, why is temperature important for making coffee?
Temperature is really important for making coffee because if you think about it, sort of like cooking, right?
Yeah.
You want to follow a recipe. And so many coffees, depending on the roast level, the origin, the processing method, may extract differently based on the different temperature that you're using, and they'll taste better and be more balanced based on the temperature that you extract at. So particularly a very acidic coffee, right, might be tamed a bit by a higher temperature.
Yeah.
And then a darker roast where you don't want to extract as much because it is going to be a little bit more bitter, a lower temperature is probably going to serve you pretty well in that regard. Now, you'll see we're set to 200.
Middle of the road?
That's kind of middle of the road, right? Like the Specialty Coffee Association has a range for specialty coffee extraction. We're going to talk a little bit about that on our upcoming stream on coffee makers, but that ranges between about 195 and 205.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, though, for most medium roast coffees, that 200 is going to be where you want it to be. And like if you're a little too acidic, maybe go up a degree. If you're a little too bitter, maybe go down a degree. But that's kind of like a good true north when it comes to just like getting your feet wet with experimenting.
Yeah, like if I get a really dark roast, which I don't drink a lot of, but if I'm using that, I'm going to be in that 198 area.
Exactly.
If we're going with some of those specialty high altitude lighter roast coffees that have a lot of those, fruits and those kind of notes, then we're probably up in that 202 area.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you're always going to experiment and see what you like best, right, or what works best for a coffee. So. So, single boiler machine.
Single boiler, exactly. And so again, just kind of recapping, the Go has two buttons for its controls here. We have our brew button, of course, which has a little cup of coffee, and then we have our steam button, which has the little jet of steam, and then the on-off switch. So it's really straightforward, but you just press this button to brew. That's going to kick on the pump. It's going to make sure that water flows through our group here. And then you'll see we're set to 199. So with this being a PID controlled espresso machine, we can actually change the temperature and then go into eco mode. So I'll go back to show you again, but T1, that's going to be our brew temperature. So we were already at 200, we'll leave it right there. And then what's really unique is that we can change our steam temperature too. So we've maxed it out at the max of 284, but I will say not all PID controlled single boiler machines actually allow you to change the steam temperature.
Yeah.
Many do, but some, like the Lily Anna, for example, controls brew temperature, does not control steam temperature. So just something to keep in mind. Now, why do you want to change your steam temperature? Well, especially on a single boiler machine like this one, the idea is you can increase the temperature to increase your steam pressure. And so by doing that, you'll be able to, maybe have an easier time frothing milk. So if you're using a different size pitcher, for example, or you're frothing different amounts of milk, having the ability to control that temperature is good. And so this is a machine in particular where I would say if you're looking to get something, kind of going back to our other best of video, which this appeared in, right? Profitect Go is a really, really great machine for anyone looking to do maybe some of those higher end single origin coffees, looking to invest a little bit more in the coffee itself, right? Because you have a precision instrument when it comes to your brew temperature. Now, from a steam standpoint though, the workflow is going to be that you switch into steam mode, and then obviously there is going to be a delay in the time that it takes for the machine to heat up to steam mode. Now, you did a video on this too, where I think our generally recommended order of operations is brew first, steam second.
Yes.
So let's pull a shot though.
Yeah.
And I have our Shadow E37S dialed in already.
So, and we have a scale, we have a couple scales over here.
Yes.
We've got the Varia Accu Mini, I see.
One of my favorites. I love the way that scale looks.
And if you're really, if you're really getting into espresso, you really want to weigh your coffee dose and you want to weigh the espresso coming out.
Yes.
And that's how you get the, you get the consistency that you're looking for.
Yeah, so going back to that recipe concept again, if you know all the variables with regards to what you're doing for your espresso preparation, and I did actually measure out how much coffee was being dispensed by our grinder ahead of time, you can basically follow a ratio. Our typical recommendation just to get you started is going to be what's called a 1-to-2 ratio, meaning double with your liquid espresso the amount of coffee that you put in. So if you do 18 grams of dry coffee in, you want to extract about 36 grams of liquid espresso out. And then the amount of time that it takes ultimately is going to be our variable that we'll adjust using our grinder. I do need to use a Profitect cup actually. It will it will taste better.
It'll taste better in the
Yes, this is one of the Profitect Pro cups here.
I always like showing the visual, Nick. So
I'll take this. This is one of our Quinto cast espresso cups. But those
you want to do
Profitect Pro
two so we
cups,
can both get a taste or no?
we'll do a little split situation here. This is going to be some of our whole Latte of Crema Wave. So that's going to be one of those medium roasts like I was talking about. So this is going to get us a lot of those really nice caramelly, nutty, honey flavors. But we've elevated it a little bit. It's our take right on the traditional Italian roast.
Yes.
So we'll get
using
started
100% specialty grade beans.
Exactly. Our shot timer is started with our PID.
Just going to sneak that over just in case.
Oh, just making you a little nervous there, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm just looking for that 36.
How are we doing? Okay, we're at 18. Yeah. We're going to be pretty good here.
Yeah. No, I told you I dialed in.
So the Crema Wave really
25
does
seconds.
live up to its name here.
Yeah. Very fresh too. You know,
crema isn't everything.
Crema is not everything, but it is an indication in many cases of freshness as well. And our whole Latte Love coffees are the freshest you can get on our website.
Yes.
So definitely something to think about if you're looking to try something new. The Crema Wave's delicious. We've got several other espresso blends as well, our Basopolis and our Beaned Up, and then of course our single origins. No, that's very nice.
I drink a lot of Wave.
Yeah. So,
that tastes like the Wave.
We've had this coffee so much, but it's just very pleasant, and it works very well in super autos and semi-automatic machines. It's delicious, of course, with milk. The Crema Wave, to me, is definitely the crowd pleaser. Some of the other blends, you might, you did a video where we used Danilo's recipe, Danilo Lodi, World Barista Championship head judge, who came in with some advice on how to brew those. So if you're interested, those recipes are available as well. And they deviate a little bit from maybe the traditional 25 to 30 second extraction times.
That's that golden rule we used to call it, you know, that it's a 1-to-2 ratio and 20 to 30, which as we've moved on.
Yeah. We've upgraded to platinum, right? It's the platinum rule.
Yeah. So that gets you at a good starting spot if you're you're into it. But it's always open to interpretation depending on what kind of coffee you're using and how you're brewing it, and if you're doing getting into higher end techniques like pre-infusion and that kind of thing. So if we were going to steam milk on here, it'd be press that steam switch.
Yes, we'd press the steam switch. You will see that's just showing us the offset change, so we obviously didn't.
Yeah.
So these PIDs you program for the temperature you want for brewing, right? And the actual temperature inside the boiler is a little hotter, anticipating the loss of temperature at the group.
Right.
But we would switch into steam mode and let this heat up. We're doing okay on time, but I think I probably do want to jump to the heat exchangers.
Okay.
So just a few last notes on the go. This color that you're seeing, the brushed stainless steel, that is a Whole Latte Love exclusive. So if you like that, check that out on our site. This is our Vitamin Walnut accent kits. We also have several other wood options available. Just a few last notes on the go. We do have a adjustable OPV located right on the top of the machine, right in front of the cup or the reservoir lid here. So you can use that to adjust brew pressures. I know some people maybe like to go down closer to like a 6 or a 7 bar. Stock is going to be 9 bar though. You can just use the included back flush disc, pop that in, and use that to check your pressure as you're adjusting.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, it's always about it's got to be 9 bar, and people get really uptight. Sometimes, somebody newer to machines, they get a machine and it's showing 8.5 or 9.5, and it's like it's okay.
It's okay, first of all, because you want to make sure that your coffee is providing some of that resistance. And so if you ever really want to check the OPV, put the back flush disc in, because that's going to give you just static resistance. It's not going to change. So if you're seeing the pressures lower than you expect, you may want to just tighten up your grind first before doing anything on the OPV. Profitec Pro seems to be very good. I didn't know this machine. Well, happy to introduce you to it. Profitec Go is one of our favorites in the single boiler category.
It's very, very popular too. Like if you
popular.
if you trust a crowd, the crowd loves the Go.
They do love the Go.
Yeah.
And so do we. But
so
Mark, we're in your neck of the woods now.
Okay. So we're going to take a look at the Luce. You're going to see a little extra gear on it. Well, first, we're going to see a lot of wood on the Luce.
Of course.
And I've said, we've been doing, these wood upgrades to really customize machines for a bit now. But really, the amount of customizations we have now, especially with the Vitamin line of wood, where you can do everything. So this one's fully tricked out. It does have what's called flow control on top.
Exactly. That's a feature for E61 group espresso machines.
Yep. Which with that, you'll also see the group mounted pressure gauge here. And if you don't know about flow control, we've got a lot of videos about it, but it allows you to do those long, low flow pre-infusions and other different techniques. We won't get into all that right now.
Just to kind of, let's just do a quick demo if you guys want to get tight on our group here. So when Mark's talking about low flow, we're at stock right now, right?
Yeah.
So stock, what I mean is with the valve in this position, the machine's going to operate as if we didn't have flow control installed. And what Mark's talking about is that we can use this valve here to actually reduce the amount of water that's allowed to go through so that you can introduce it very gently for that pre-infusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
over there.
And you do have the pressure gauge up here, so if you want to kind of see what kind of pressure you're putting right on the coffee, and this pressure gauge is going to be a lot different than the pressure gauge that you're going to see on the face of the machine.
Because that's reading it right at the groove.
Right at the coffee.
Yeah. And now, you don't need the pressure gauge to use flow control. It's obviously very helpful, but you could remove it, and then we have our press sensor as well. It's a Bluetooth pressure device that you can use in conjunction with the flow control so that you can, using an app, actually view your pressure in real time. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
So this little guy right here
exactly
is a Bluetooth pressure sensor.
Yes.
Yeah. So It connects to an app, and then you can time right through the app.
You can
save
log
recipes.
brews and things like that. Exactly.
You can do all kinds of fun stuff with this.
Yes.
So I really like those.
Can't really take this off now because it's hot.
Yeah.
We might have some hot water flowing through there otherwise.
That would make a mess.
But Mark, let's really show off what this machine can do. Why is it a heat exchanger? Well, it can brew and steam at the same time. If you want to hand me some milk, we'll do a little demo here.
How about I fill up your pitcher here? Huh?
Appreciate it. See, but now we're going to see if I can flex with some latte art or not.
I think you got it.
I hope so.
And again, you're grinding on that E37S over there, which,
Yes.
if you watch any of my videos, you know that for gosh, probably a decade, this has been my favorite grinder. I use it as a reference grinder all the time. Just got huge 83 millimeter burrs, and I got to say, the price on the E37S, if you want to go high end right now, right?
Yeah.
This
incredibly
good price. This is commercial shops use these. If you just want no question, you got great grind. You can't miss on an E37S, and right now with the price of it, you can't miss either.
So I'll tell you what, Mark. If you want, get the heat exchanger cutaway.
Yeah.
So we can see it, and you can kind of explain how this is all going to work, because I'm going to show you can actually brew and steam at the same time with this machine. And so I will do a little bit of pre-infusion first. I'll run that for maybe 5, 6, 7 seconds. You can go ahead and open it up, yeah. And then I'll steam my milk at the same time.
I pulled back the flow a little bit. Now we're going to let it come up. You got really nice steam pressure on here.
Yeah, the Luce has very, very great steam pressure. You know, Becerra, they tend to do very well with steam on their PID machines for their heat exchangers. And then we'll come up here. And so I'll give you a second if you want to try to get our overhead cam, but we'll talk just a little bit about the heat exchanger, because the way that this works is, and this one's horizontally mounted, and that's actually how it is in the Luce, but we have a tube on the inside, and then we also have the surrounding steam and hot water. So if you want to talk about that, Mark, I'm going to just see what I can do.
Well, I want to see.
Here.
We'll see your pour, and then I'll talk. Can he do it?
A little too much aeration there, but you can sort of see.
A little something there.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I probably could have taken that just a little shorter. The Luce, though, really, really powerful steam.
Yeah.
I think 16 seconds to froth 5 ounces of milk from fridge temp to 140.
Which is honestly faster than a lot of dual boilers. And what you're going to find, people are always looking at stats, right? Oh, it steams faster.
Yeah.
That might not necessarily be what you want sometimes.
No, exactly.
Right? You might want more time to work your milk. If you're really good, you want the pressure.
But so what you're saying, though, is really important, because that kind of gets to the whole idea of a heat exchanger and some of the benefits, but also some of the limitations, right? So the benefit, as we can see, is that we're able to brew and steam simultaneously. So in a household where you want to make milk drinks every single day and where you have multiple people, that's going to be really good.
Yeah.
But because of the way these boilers are designed, right?
And I'll just talk about it real quick if we got that front shot of it. So there's a tube inside the boiler, and you're seeing inside of here there's a cutaway in the tube. So that's what's going to heat the brew water, is that tube in here. And in a E61 group, this is an E61 group on this cutaway machine right here. Oh, the E61's also cutaway. The water is constantly circulating through that tube out to the group head, and that's why these get hot. That's why they're nice and temperature stable. It's because they're constantly circulating hot water out there, and then it's the inner portion outside of that tube inside the boiler where your hot water and steam is created. So you got a lot of space in there for steam. So that's how that works. Then, just real quick, we're going to get to the dual boiler, but I do have it here. And of course, on a dual boiler, we have 2 independent boilers basically. So you got one for your brew water, one for your steaming. So if you want to run a lower steam pressure, you can do that on a dual boiler without affecting the temperature of the brew water.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say, is that on a heat exchanger espresso machine, you do have the potential for stable brew temperatures, as we found in our testing. You do have the ability to brew and steam at the same time. But if you want to lower that steam pressure, like
Yeah.
you said, or you want to change your brew temperature, well, you are affecting both at the same time. And so
Yes.
this is my little trick that I like to do with our cutaway, just to show basically how the group works.
Yeah.
You lock that right in, and then let me turn that for you.
Yeah.
You want to hold the portafilter.
Yep.
You can see the gasket right here, the shower screen right here. It goes straight down. So that's exactly where the water flows. It's right up in there, which is really neat. Now, on our Luce, just from Bazzera, one thing that they do with their heat exchanger espresso machines is they actually show you your desired brew temperature rather than your steam temperature. So on a machine like the Profitec Pro 500, for example, the Pro 500 PID, or the new Rocket Fast espresso machines, for instance, those are heat exchangers with PIDs, but you are programming your temperature for the actual boiler, and then there's a little chart that you have to reference to see what is my brew temperature going to be. On Bazzera's machines, they kind of do it the other way.
So if I'm doing that, that lighter roast high-end coffee, I can set this right to 202, and I don't have to go in there. What you're saying is on some other heat exchanger machines, you're setting the actual temperature inside the boiler, not what's going to end up on the coffee. It's
Correct.
calculated.
Exactly. And so then you have to do a little bit of math. So Bazzera does you a favor there, and you can obviously still see using the pressure gauge. That's a good way just to check where the boiler is in terms of the pressure for the steam. So on the Luce, we're floating just under 1.5 bar there. To wrap up with this machine, the successor to a very popular PID heat exchanger machine called the Bazzera Magica, available in 4 colors now. So this green is, I think, becoming a very popular color.
We do like the green.
The Rancilio Silvia just came out with a new sage green that we've got. And then, something that a lot of machines are starting to feature now is the adjustable OPV, like I talked about for the Profitec Go. So in the same kind of position here on the Luce, it's right there on the top underneath our cup tray. So we love the Luce. And if you're looking for a heat exchanger espresso machine, if you love milk drinks, really great option. But if you are looking for the best of both worlds in terms of perfect control over brew temperature and also that on-demand steam, Mark, what's our last option that we have here?
So we got the Gaggia Classic GT. We took a look at this is the actual brew boiler inside of there. I don't have a steam boiler to yank out right now, but there's a separate steam boiler, so it is a dual boiler. As far as a dual boiler machine goes, there's, you can go twice the price in this easily go twice the price on this. So this is a really great price. Just had a friend
100%.
purchase one yesterday. And what do we really like about the Gaggia Classic GT?
There are so many things to really like about the Gaggia Classic GT, but so first of all, let's just cover some of the very basics. Precision degree by degree brew temperature control, variable independently controlled steam pressure as well. External OPV accessible this time on the side of the machine, so that's letting you change that brew pressure.
Yeah.
But the coolest, I've buried the lead a little bit.
You buried the lead.
The coolest feature by far that the GT has is going to be this switch right here.
Let me get this off of here. We could do a little demo of. And you're going after the low flow.
I'm going after the low flow pre-infusion. That's right. So the Gaggia Classic GT has a feature called low flow pre-infusion that's going to dispense water at about 3 grams per second. It has to do with how the pump is modulated. So by pressing and holding this switch, it starts a low flow that gently introduces water.
And if we can get at the top of the machine here, you're going to get a timer for the low flow, and then you're going to let go, right?
Yeah, so it's actually really cool what Gaggia did because
And another timer.
A timer for how long you run your low flow, and then that soak timer for how long do you want to wait between dispensing that water, and then of course the last third counter there. That's for when we start brewing. It'll show the full time of our extraction. So, it's incredible that Gaggia included all of this. It's all the information that you'd really need. And so that's the manual function, if we want to just stay on here for a minute, because you also have pre-programmed pre-infusion as well. So you press this here, and now we see the LED ring around this switch has illuminated. What that means is you can actually use now the pre-infusion cycles that are programmed into the machine.
So we got one for light, medium, and dark roast coffees.
Exactly.
So you're going to get a longer, full puck saturation generally on the light, and pretty close to full, if not full, on the medium.
Yes.
It's going to depend a little bit on the density of the coffee, because those coffees, there's different densities.
That's right.
And then a darker one that has a shorter, which is just there to really saturate the puck a little bit to prevent.
Just a little bit to prevent channeling.
Yeah, just to prevent channeling. The other ones are just going to help with those really fresh coffees. To maybe help them off gas before you get into the main brewing, so you can reduce some of the brightness and acidity if they're too fresh. We run into that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, that is those times that we have. You can see them on the website where we go into the exact durations for light, medium, and dark. Those are exclusive to the North American version. So if you're watching in America, the version that we have here has slightly different timing than you would get in Europe, for example.
Yes.
And going back though, switching gears from brewing to steaming, because that's obviously the other side of the dual boiler. The classic GT has 2 pumps, which is not something that you find on a bunch of machines, especially dual boilers. And what that's going to do is when you're brewing, if you're steaming at the same time, and maybe you've drained the boiler a little bit, right? What's going to happen is you will need to refill it. Just using the fill level probe will say, okay, we need more water in here. Well, if that happens while you're brewing, that can affect your brew pressure, because the pump's going to need to fill the boiler. Now,
but not over here.
The GT has 2 pumps, 1 for each boiler, so you can brew completely uninterrupted, have your steam boiler replenish, and just keep on brewing with no distractions. And you, I think, in your video showed you can leave that steam valve open. I think it was like 5 minutes. You were going with continuous pressure for
In
frothing
fact, the
milk.
boiler refilled a couple times.
Multiple times, yeah.
While I was just running it for 5 minutes. I didn't even really observe a decrease in steam pressure at all. And the steaming on this is great. And there's 3 presets on this machine.
4 presets for steam,
4.
actually, yeah.
Oh, well, yes, there's the other one. Yes.
Well, no. So we go into our menu here, and we'll go to our steam temperature. And you've got 248.
It is 4.
Yeah,
Right.
so I believe it's 5 degrees Celsius increments, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, we're converting to Fahrenheit, of course. And then, yes, well, Mark, tell us about what that last thing is that you were talking about here.
So right now, so we can turn the steam on and off. So we actually had this set to do the hot water.
Yes.
So it'll run the boiler. You won't use as much energy. So you have a separate hot water spout over here. I'll turn that off for now. So if you want some hot water out of the machine for my Americanos.
That's right.
Generally when you're running, and we just kicked it up, you're going to get a very nice smooth flow of hot water.
A much milder, flow of hot water, right? So if you've ever dispensed hot water from your machine and you're thinking, oh my gosh,
Like
there's a
one.
lot of steam coming out of here.
Here's the difference. It gets kind of buzzy and
very buzzy, lots of steam.
Yeah.
It's just a nice, much more controlled hot water dispensing. That's not a feature that I've seen on any other machine in terms of how the boiler functions. And you have a solenoid valve that controls the hot water dispensing as well.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. So, I'm going to kick it into steam mode.
Yes.
So that'll heat up, and while it's just going to flash until it reaches whatever we had it set at.
Exactly.
Because there was something I wanted to say. Some other features on the machine.
Yeah.
Time of day on off.
Time of day on off, that's big. I mean, one of the great things is the brew boiler is a modified Gaggia Classic boiler. So you're still heating up incredibly quickly to brew temperature, but you can still have the machine ready to go, especially if you're looking to steam. So you might want to have that kicked on. And then, Mark, do you have our portafilter for our GT here?
Yep.
You took it off. I was going to say, we'll do one last little demo. We'll do some of that pre-infusion. We're running a little longer just because we obviously had a little bit of a later start. So actually, can this brew those more delicate flour roasts? Mark, go ahead and get that. I'll get us a shot prepped here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's what you have on the GT, is that degree by degree control of your brew temperature. We saw that you had 4 different steaming temperatures. But for brew temperature, you can have the degree by degree control. And usually if you're talking about those more delicate floury roasts, that's typically a higher end coffee, probably a lighter, denser coffee. It could really benefit from some of that, that low flow pre-infusion, which is a very unique feature. Now you can do a low flow pre-infusion over here. Over here it's automatic. So if I had a coffee like that, I'd be experimenting with different pre-infusions.
And we'll just do, in this case, we'll use the light pre-infusion, which was what was already set.
Sure.
A little shorter cup's our Gaggia Cappuccino cup, but it's actually perfect for me to show off another feature here, which is, of course, our variable height drip tray. So let me just...
The telescoping OPV.
The telescopic little decompression duct there. And then, Mark, will give me one more chance to redeem myself with my latte art prowess here.
I'm going to grab your pitcher here.
That's right. And so this machine does have volumetric brewing as well. It uses a flow meter, so that means you can actually program it based on the amount of liquid that gets passed through that flow meter. This one we do not have programmed, so I'm going to just stop it when we get to that 36. But yeah, get me a little milk there, Mark, and we'll see what this baby can do. So we actually are in preset mode, so I'm just going to press and hold the pre-infusion and brew button to disable that. And now we're just going to go ahead and brew. And there's that pre-infusion starting. It's going to stop automatically. And then the GT is like the original classic. So in this case, we have the steam wand on the right side instead. Really good steam pressure here.
How's our shot doing there?
We're just getting started on that shot because we just finished our pre-infusion.
I'll help you out here with this.
Appreciate it. And there we go. So I can already tell this milk's a little foamier than probably want it, but is it going in at a bit of an awkward angle there? Yeah, maybe a little cappuccino. Maybe we'll just dump a little out into our existing cappuccino, top that one off. But yep, seeing just a little too much foam again on that one, but keep practicing.
You're getting there. That's right.
That's
okay, so we dealt with the, thanks for all the questions and comments here, guys. Let's see, would love to see some better deals for Black Friday. Profit move, but no movement on the price. So stay tuned, we got some gifts with purchase there, right?
Stay tuned for that. But, you know, Mark, we're saying bye to you for now, but if you stay tuned in, you will get more of me in our upcoming stream. So that's going to be on our SCA certified coffee makers coming right up. But yeah, let's just, I think close out. So
yeah, I mean, so we looked at it, very convenient. If you like that, you just want to wake up in the morning, turn the machine on, 2 minutes later have, a coffee, an Americano, a cappuccino, a cafe au lait, a flat white. That's the magenta, of course, all from whole beans, ground fresh. Then we get into the more manual, more hot, maybe, you approach this as a hobby.
Yeah.
And you're really going to go after, you want to go into some specialty coffee stuff or be churning stuff out for a crowd over and over. Then we're up into these machines. I got to say that, love the Go is an incredibly popular machine. The Luce, great steamer.
Yes.
With the flow control available and the GT.
It's really the best of both worlds, like I was saying.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to go for a dual boiler, and you're going to, you can easily go twice the price of this. And I got to tell you, the GT probably has more capabilities.
Well, I was going to say twice the price, probably nowhere near twice the value.
Yes, there you go. So anyhow, you can always use the comments to ask us any questions you might have. I also want to mention Barista Assist again.
Barista Assist and Coffee Cast, two different programs. So Barista Assist, you can get live one-on-one assistance from our coffee experts, helping you get your machine dialed in and your coffee tasting good. That's once you've got the machine. Coffee Cast, though, if you want to see any of these machines that you've seen today or anything else from our catalog, you can book one-on-one product demonstrations with our coffee experts to help you find your next machine.
Yeah, those are live video sessions. So have the machine set up and take you through what it can do. We do some comparisons as well if you're looking at two different machines.
Accessory demos as well, helping you dial in. There's a lot of stuff that we cover, so it's a great service.
Yeah.
So book yours if you're interested.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Nick, thanks so much.
My pleasure, Mark.
And great to have you. And you're going to be coming up again with these with the coffee maker.
That's right. Exactly.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everyone.